Hey there, my name is Nick, and I'm here to teach a little bit about game theory. What is game theory? Game theory is a way of taking situations and solving them through the outcomes and the motivations of respective parties. Let's dissect that. If we have two people who want to make fish soup, and one of them is a fisher and one of them is a cook, we could see what an outcome for them would look like. This is a very simple scenario. Both people have two options. The fisher can keep the fish for themselves or give it to the cook. The cook can decide to not cook or cook. Only one option gets them the fish soup. So what would they pick? Fish soup. That was easy. We had a clearly defined goal and actions were non-ambiguous. The two of them will make a good fish soup. Well, life isn't so easy. There's another game that's very famous that's taught in game theory. The Prisoner's Dilemma. Two suspects partnered up to commit a serious crime. They are taken into separate interrogation rooms. An officer walks in and says, "Look, I can turn a blind eye to what you did. You have to give me all the evidence I need about your partner's connection to the crime. You won't have to serve at all. But," the officer says, "if both of you decide to rat out the other person, you will both get 3 years of jail time." The suspect knows that if they and their partner stay quiet, they will only serve 1 year. If only one person stays silent, the evidence against them will put them in jail for 5 years. What strategy should either suspect take to get the least jail time? Let's visualize this from the perspective of Suspect 1 against their partner Suspect 2. Suspect 1 has to anticipate what their partner might do. What are Suspect 2's options? They can rat out or not rat out. Great. But we don't know which outcome to choose, because Suspect 1 hasn't made their choice yet. What can Suspect 1 do for either choice? Well, they can rat out or not rat out. We're getting closer to the solution. How many years does Suspect 1 serve in each circumstance? Per the officer and the suspect's knowledge, both of them ratting out means 3 years in prison. Let's be nice then. Let's not rat out. Well, in this case, that's even worse for Suspect 1. They now have to serve 5 years in prison. The fact that Suspect 2 serves none does not matter for Suspect 1. We're only looking at Suspect 1's outcomes here. So what about if Suspect 2 does not rat out? If they both don't, they only serve 1 year. Great. But if Suspect 1 knows this and decides to rat out Suspect 2, Suspect 1 only serves 0. Ooh, even better for Suspect 1. Well now, this is kind of confusing. If Suspect 1 knows that Suspect 2 is going to rat them out, Suspect 1 will rat them out in return. But both of them would rather spend only 1 year each in prison, surely. But if you don't rat someone else out, and they rat you out, you have to spend a long time in prison. What should we do? There are many reasons this could go different in real life, but we're just looking at the explicit goal of minimizing years spent in prison. If Suspect 2 chooses to rat out, and Suspect 1 knows this, Suspect 1 rats out as well. So we can say that if Suspect 2 rats out, they serve 3 years in prison. If Suspect 2 does not rat out, Suspect 1 will rat them out, which means Suspect 2 serves 5 years in prison. Now that we migrated those results up, would Suspect 2 rather have 3 years or 5 years in prison? By the rule we decided, they would want 3 years in prison. Therefore, they rat out. Interesting. In this situation, it seems like Suspect 1 had no choice but to rat out. Considering this, Suspect 2 had no choice but to rat out. They both served 3 years in prison when they could have just served 1. Whoops. In this very limited and purely mathematical scenario, you can see why both people took the actions they did. But no one really got what they wanted. Sometimes, when it comes down to the numbers, game theory is not pretty. Thanks for watching. I hope that this video has helped you learn a thing or two about game theory and the prisoner's dilemma.